Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today, a Kindle book haul. Now everyone knows I'm doing the Read What You Own challenge, and what I decided to do in addition to going shopping for physical books is I went a little bit crazy on my Kindle as well. Of course, all this happened before the 6th of November. Stay tuned. Okay everyone, before we begin, I've decided to divide this video into two parts, simply because I don't want to do a long 30-40 minute video. I've got at least 40 books to show off on my Kindle, so just a little bit of information overload if I carry on for too long. So yeah, I'm just going to show you 20 today and 20 tomorrow. This is also going to be a mixture of novels, novellas, classics, all sorts of different stuff, some science fiction as well. And I really want you to tell me in the comments below what you think I should prioritize for the challenge in the months ahead, because that's one reason I'm actually showing you all these books. I want to know if you've read them and what you think about them, so yeah, I can prioritize some over the others. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we have In the Scrape, and that is by James Newman. Now, this was very highly rated on Goodreads, and it's a coming-of-age horror novella, and was also a booktuber that recommended it when I watched the video. It's about two boys who desperately want to escape their abusive father and reunite with their mother in California, and obviously they have to overcome all sorts of obstacles on the way. So it sounds like a lot of fun. Second of all, we have Bloodchild by Octavia Butler. Now this is a sci-fi horror short story set on a distant planet, and it's got a very intriguing premise. It's about an alien race who face extinction, and they need to plant their larvae inside the bodies of humans in order to save themselves. Now apparently there's a lot of body horror in this short story. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it. Now, as I said, this is a mixture of novels and novellas, but there's going to be a lot of novellas because I'm doing the 100 book challenge, and I want to get through it. So I really went over my Kindle looking at all the horror novellas. Obviously looked at things like price, quality, things that have been recommended on booktube. So yeah, let me know with these choices that I've made, and let me know what I should prioritize for future. Okay, thirdly we got Mayfly from CJ Leder. I think the reason I got this is because it's a December group read on Ollie's Patreon, and it is quite intriguing because it's almost like the female version of American Psycho, and having read American Psycho and having really enjoyed it, I'm intrigued to see what this is all about. So yeah, that is Mayfly. Okay, the fourth one is Saulina, I think it is, by Philip Processa. And what I wrote down a bit about this is that it's a family that charter a fishing boat. And when I say family, I think it's two brothers. I think the older brother's just got out of prison, and a father, and they go out into the deep ocean where a mutant species rises from the deep. Abyssal darkness. It sounds like a great ocean horror, and I haven't read many of them, so it'd be kind of fun to read this. The fifth book is Beast of Burden by Judith Sonnet. Now this was another booktuber recommendation, and it's a horror novella again, and it's about a struggling metal band. They're kind of falling apart, and they go for a photo shoot in a forest and try and make things work better, but they are forced into a cave where something ancient, evil, and very hungry is waiting for them. So yeah, it sounds like quite a grisly story. From what I remember about the booktuber talking about it, it is quite gory, but that's okay. That's never turned me off. So that is The Beast of Burden. Okay, the sixth story is sounds very, very interesting. I don't think it's a normal kind of horror, but it's called A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. Now this is about a man who's a Mormon who dies and thinks he's going to be reunited with his family, and he finds himself in some kind of hell. And this hell is a vast library with the dimensions all over the place, and he's confused. And the only way he can escape is by finding a book that tells the story of his life, containing his life story. So yeah, this just sounds like a really interesting read. Nothing gory, nothing horrific, just strange and interesting. So I'm looking forward to this one. The 7th book is The Cockroach King by Andrew Cull. Now this is basically, as far as I know, very cool cover, if you can see above me, a woman who moves into a new house, and her and her friend, after a little while that she's there, they unearth the remains of a dog. After the bones come the cockroaches. Okay, that's the only thing that it said on Goodreads, but yeah, that sounds kind of grisly and nasty, and yeah, dead dogs and cockroaches. Okay, the 8th book I'm really interested in reading, and that is Skullface by Chad Lutsky. I absolutely love the premise of this one. It's a coming-of-age horror novella about a 16-year-old with a skull for a face, literally, who embarks on a road trip. He is basically looking for someone who looks just like him, and he encounters all sorts of weird and wonderful journeys, sort of experiences on the way. And it sounds like my kind of a story, like horror, coming of age, just a weird road trip. Sounds interesting. Okay, the 9th book is Blanky by Keelan Patrick Burke. Now, I absolutely loved Sour Candy that I read this year. I think it was a 5-star read if I can remember correctly, maybe 4-star. So I'm interested to read more of this guy's work. And this sounds very interesting. A man struggles to keep himself together after losing his infant daughter. One day he hears sounds from her room, and he finds her security blanket named Blanky. Now the thing is, he buried her with the blanket. So yeah, that sounds very creepy. I'm really looking forward to reading more from this guy because he's really good. Sour Candy was a top class novella. Okay, the 10th book is a book that I've been looking for a long time, and that is Johnny Got His Gun by Dalton Trumbo. I know that I'm going to be doing a group read or a buddy read or whatever with this particular book, but it is absolutely horrific. What sounds absolutely terrifying and horrific, and it's about this man who basically he's just a conscious torso. He suffers a bomb blast, a shell blast in World War I, and so he's fully conscious inside, but he's trapped inside this body. No arms, no legs, no nothing. And he tells a story. Now, yeah, I've heard all sorts of interesting things about the story, and I also heard that the author got in trouble as well, because it's very much anti-war. So yeah, I don't know when it was written about the Vietnam War or whatever, but yeah, the author got in a bit of controversy, let's just say that. Okay, the 11th book is Funfare, which is an extreme novella by Sam West. Now I must have another creepy carnival read somewhere. I love my creepy carnivals, and this one sounds like very literally a funfair straight from hell, and it's pretty much all that I know about it, but the fact that it is an extreme novel, not novella, sorry, then there's going to be a lot of people that die grisly, horrible deaths, so I'm sure we're going to have some fun with this one. I just hope it meets expectations, because I've read some funfair novellas or creepy clown stuff that let me down a little bit, so I'm really hoping this lives up to expectations. That is Funfare. Okay, now we come to a short horror classic that is a reread for me, and that is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irvine. Now I remember a long time ago reading this book, and I think I only gave it 2 or 3 stars, so it's time to revisit it, and so maybe the more older, mature me might look at it in a different light. And I think this is about that legend, I think of the Headless Horseman or something. I don't think I'm giving any spoilers away with this story. And so it's a kind of a ghost story, and yeah, it'll be fun to read it another time and see what I think of it now. So that is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and of course it was made into a movie as well. The 13th book is Offspring by Jack Ketchum. Earlier on I read Off Season, which was incredibly brutal, bloody, nasty, but I absolutely loved it. And so now I want to read the sequel, Offspring, which doesn't sound a hell of a lot more different to the first one. It's just you got these cannibals, these bloodthirsty, nasty, basically inbred cannibals, just causing havoc and eating people, and yeah. Hey, what's more to say? It's got to like it, right? Enough said. Okay, this book is not really part of this haul. I actually bought this book right at the beginning of the year, but I never got around to reading it, so I'm definitely going to read for this challenge. And that is Autumn by David Moody. Now this is a zombie apocalypse tale, a little bit different to normal tales. It's basically described as a bastard hybrid of the War of the Worlds and Night of the Living Dead. And I think it's about these zombies, although they're not called that in this book, who at first are like kind of shambling corpses, and then they go through stages where they become more intelligent or they start moving faster. And yeah, 99% of the population has been wiped out, and the 1% have to somehow survive. And these zombies or these creatures trying to kill them. So it sounds very, very interesting. That is Autumn by David Moody. Okay, the 15th book is Strange Weather by Joe Hill, which is what we're experiencing right now. It is basically 4 stories, a collection of 4 stories by Joe Hill, and I want to go into this completely blind. And I'm actually going to read another novel of his, I think over Christmas, and that is going to be one of my favourite novels, and that is Nosferatu, Joe Hill. So this is going to be a reread for me, perfect Christmas time reading, and I'm dying to revisit Christmas Land. But at some stage I'll definitely get hold of Strange Weather as well. Okay, the 16th book has got a very fearsome reputation, and that is The Summer I Died by Ryan C. Thomas. Now this is an extreme novel. I think it's a novel, not a novella, and it's about 2 friends just enjoying summer, drinking some beer, laughing, maybe doing a bit of womanizing, just having fun. And then they're forced to fight for their lives as they confront a sadistic serial killer, or a sadistic killer who has a nasty dog as well. And yeah, apparently it is absolutely excellent, but very, very extreme horror, but it is highly rated. So I'm looking forward to giving this a go. And that is The Summer I Died. Okay, the 17th story is The Animal. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the author, but it should be up there. And this looks like an interesting slasher, which is not usually in my kind of genre, but it looks like a monster wearing the mask of a wolf. So kind of a wannabe werewolf. Goes on a killing rampage and slaughters loads of people under a full moon. And the survivor is a little girl hiding under a bed with blood dripping on her. And apparently later on, I don't know if it's 20 years later or whatever, when she grows up, I think perhaps there's another cycle. So yeah, it sounds interesting. And I actually really want to start reading more werewolf novels, stories, because I've read hardly anything at all. So I need to catch up on that subgenre. Okay, the 18th book has been talked about a lot of times on booktube, and that is You've Lost a Lot of Blood, and how is that for a cover? That is a messed up cover. And that is by Eric LaRocca, and I've had mixed feelings about this, mainly because I've heard people either love it or hate it, and I think it comes across, let me see what I've written here, that it is very different, very creative, but very, very weird and bizarre, and he does things with horror that other authors don't do. So I know absolutely nothing about the story, but yeah, I'm going in blind, and I'd love to see what this is all about. So some people absolutely adore it, and some people just can't understand it maybe, or can't get into it. Let's see what happens. Okay, the 19th book. This is going to be very sweet and short because I know next to nothing about it. And that is A Girl in the Basement by Ray Garton. Now, initially when I saw this I thought, oh, there's a girl being kept in the basement. Maybe she's being abused or tortured or whatever. Apparently it's nothing like that. Apparently it's a 9-year-old girl. She's kept in a basement. Now she knows things that nobody can possibly know, and she predicts things that come true. And apparently the government visit her in her basement. So that's as much as I know about the story, but that's very, very interesting. Something kind of different. So that's A Girl in the Basement. And finally, to end off part 1, part 2 coming tomorrow, is A Return to the Black Farm by Elias Witherow. I did a buddy read with Bad. Bad is Rad. It was awesome. And the review still needs to happen. Hopefully that'll come in the next week. But yeah, that was a great read. Very much an extreme horror, but very, very interesting. One of the extreme horrors that I've really enjoyed this year. It's just so fascinating. I don't want to know anything about the sequel. I think in terms of sequels, it's better to just go in completely blind. And also I don't want to share it with you because I don't want to give away any spoilers for people that haven't read the first book. So yeah, that's going to be on my reading for this year, and that is Return to the Black Farm. Okay everyone, that's part A of my Kindle haul. I hope you all enjoyed that. Please, once again, let me know what you think of those stories so that I can prioritize my reading. Yeah, I've got about 50-60 books on my Kindle. I'm only presenting 40, 20 today, 20 tomorrow, but I'd love to know the books that you've read and the stories you've read and that you really rated highly, so that I can prioritize those and put them in my TBR, maybe for next month or for January. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed my content. If you do, please be sure to like and subscribe, and take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.